episode 3 of It's a Free Life. Thank you for tuning in today. Just a heads up that my cat Shitty is playing around back there, and so if you hear a lot of banging around or if you see her running around, just know that that's what's going on. Anyway, so today I'm going to be talking about why I think you are what you eat and how that is so cliche, but it is also so very true. First, I would like to start by sharing a photo of me from 2011. This was at my heaviest. Those were the biggest pair of pants that I have owned. Those were my jeans that I told myself, okay, I need to either get bigger jeans or I need to get smaller. So I decided to get smaller. And here are 2 photos of me today, this morning, with that same very pair of pants. And obviously there has been quite a transformation, not only in weight loss, but really how I feel on the inside and how I feel about myself. The first photo, I was eating a lot of processed foods, a lot of frozen meals, a lot of things that came in boxes and packages. I ate any kind of carbohydrate I could get my hands on, whether that was bread, rolls, biscuits, cereals, cornbreads, waffles, pancakes, you name it, I ate it, pastas, anything like that. I loved it. Or thought that I loved it. I don't remember ever just sitting down and snacking on a piece of fruit. I definitely hardly ever ate vegetables unless it was like, you know, peas like mixed in with a bowl of pasta, things like that. I did drink a lot of dairy. I definitely drank a lot of milk, way more than I drank of water. I definitely ate a lot of cheese, not quality cheese. I will talk about that a little bit later. As compared to the more recent photos, I am now have a diet filled with meats, vegetables, fruits, nuts and seeds. You know, I do indulge in paleo treats from time to time, so everything is still grain-free and low carb, but they do have sugars, which is not something that I indulge in frequently. So obviously there's a huge difference in the way that I looked and the foods that I was eating compared to how I look and the foods that I am eating now. I had all kinds of health problems back then. I had so much acne. I had a stomach ache I remember going to the doctor and telling her, I've had a stomach ache for 2 months. Every day for 2 months. I just had this horrible, painful stomach ache. I had a lot of diarrhea. I just wasn't really sure what was going on. And I didn't really know that that wasn't how you were supposed to feel, but I was hoping that I would be able to feel better. And so through a process of elimination and figuring out what works with my body and also doing a lot of research and, you know, realizing what works for other people, what other people have realized. And I did all of this transformation, getting where I am today, all without the help of any doctors, with any health professionals, with any dietitians. I have not used anything like that. It's just completely been me on my own, doing my own research, figuring out what works best for my body, and really just listening to my body when I'm eating and when I'm fueling my body. I hear a lot of people say things like, oh, I don't have any energy at all anymore, as they're like sucking down sodas and drinking, you know, huge Starbucks coffees and all these things. And I cannot stress the importance enough of realizing that how you feel is a direct correlation of what you put into your body. I know that this example has been going around for a long time and many of you have already probably heard it, but it is similar to taking a car that takes regular gasoline and filling it with diesel. And while maybe your car won't break down the first time that you do it, or the 5th time that you do it, or the 10th time that you do it, in the long run you're doing internal irreparable damage to your car. That is exactly how your body works in regards to food. Food is your fuel. Food provides the vitamins and the nutrients to feed your cells, which, if you know anything about biology, cells completely run our body. You know, there are billions and billions of them, and they're the very foundation for what makes us go. And you have to be fueling yourself correctly and giving your cells the nutrients that it needs. Not only your cells, but your brain as well. Your brain, in order to just think clearly, in order to have consistent thoughts, in order to feel alive and just ready to go and ready to take on the day, you have to be giving your brain that energy that it needs. You know, our bodies require so much focus and so much attention, and we use so much energy, and it's hard to really feel alive and have like a zest for life when you aren't feeling good. I know that now, even when I just get like a little cold or like, just some simple little illness, which only happens maybe twice a year now, I feel so crummy and I want to lay on the couch all day, and I don't have a lot of interest in life, and I don't care about doing anything. I'm just focused on how I'm feeling, and that feeling just kind of takes over. And I remember feeling that way when I was not healthy as well. And I remember waking up every day just feeling so miserable. I wasn't excited to do anything. I had no energy. I remember sleeping all the time. I would often sleep for 12 hours a night and I'd wake up and still be so exhausted, wanting to take more naps. I missed out on so much that life has to offer me. I couldn't exercise. I couldn't go out and hike around in nature. I couldn't do anything. And that is just such a low quality of life. And I'm just here to tell you that it can be better. And the good news is that the fix is simple. It's not easy. It does not happen quickly. And you will likely, stumble along the way, and you'll likely fail at times and kind of have to motivate yourself to kind of keep going. But it is so doable. And the value that you get from bringing life to yourself and from making yourself feel good is immeasurable. There is no amount of money or anything that I could put on how good it is to feel good inside. The first step in the process of weight loss or just simply feeling better inside is admitting that you are messing things up, or admitting that there's a problem, admitting that there's room for improvement. I know personally that I found a lot of shame and a lot of embarrassment and just kind of a lot of almost like self-hate in that time when I was just admitting to myself like, hey, you might not be doing this right. And that wasn't really a correct way for me to think about myself. I don't think that there is any embarrassment or any shame or any hatred in admitting that you are wrong, or admitting that what once maybe made you feel okay doesn't make you feel okay now. And that is simply just due to time and due to change. And that's, completely normal. Change happens in every area of life. Your body changes, whether you're having kids or whether you're exercising more, whether your job has changed, whatever it might be. And so if you are having trouble with that, that first step, just take a deep breath and give yourself a hug and realize that it is okay. It is okay to admit that you have been harming yourself and that you have been fueling yourself with the wrong kinds of foods. You maybe have been causing whatever health issue you might be having. And, again, that's okay, because now you also are giving yourself the power to change that. And you can't change anything without first recognizing that there is a problem. The next step that I would recommend is to figure out how certain foods make you feel, whether you are questioning sugars or dairy or gluten or grains in general or fruits or nuts, anything like that. I really recommend stopping it for 30 days. Programs such as the Whole30 are excellent in providing some support and some guidance through this process, as it can be very difficult. Even now, I'm eating a diet with whole real foods, but things like the Whole30 are still a challenge for me as well. So don't feel bad if it's hard for you, if you struggle. That's completely normal. And especially if you have been eating a processed diet for a long time like I was, it's so hard to just immediately transition over. But I do think that this is a great way to just see how foods make you feel. I noticed when I was vegan that I had been eating a lot of bread, and for whatever reason, I just had stopped buying it for a while. And then I decided to just buy it again and have some toast for breakfast. And I noticed a huge difference right away in how that bread made me feel. I was immediately sleepy. I wanted to take a nap. It was 9 a.m. and I had just slept for 10 hours. That shouldn't be the case after eating breakfast. So again, I really recommend eliminating certain foods, and I guarantee you that right after reintroducing those foods into your diet, you will know how it makes you feel. This journey that you go on with yourself and with the food that you eat isn't like a train ride where you have a destination in mind. It is something that is continually changing. Even now, 5 years after I've lost a bunch of weight and I'm finally fit and I have a bunch of energy and I'm really feeling good almost 100% of the time, I still have to question myself. I still have to look at the foods that I'm eating. I still have to try eliminating foods just to see really how they work with my body. And so don't think of this like, don't set a specific day in mind. Like, okay, in 1 year, I'm gonna not have to be doing this anymore. It's kind of a process that you have to fall in love with. You have to love yourself enough to constantly be looking for ways to feel better and to just having the courage to admit to yourself, like, hey, you might not be getting it all right now. And I have to tell myself that, like, hey, paleo is working awesome for me now, but I can't say that I won't ever try something else, because maybe when I'm 40, this isn't going to work for me anymore as my life changes and just as I change and my body changes through time. There's good news and there's bad news. The bad news is that there's not any shortcuts. There's no tricks or quick fixes or fad diets that will keep you healthy long term. The good news is that the answer is very simple, and that answer is real whole foods. What I mean by that is foods that you can almost walk out into a field and to buy or to eat. So I'm talking about eggs, I'm talking about meats, I'm talking about quality grass-fed dairy such as kefirs and yogurts, milk if that agrees with you. I do, grass-fed cheeses from time to time, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, things of that nature. So easy to overeat on a processed diet because your cells and your body and your brain are wanting nutrients and vitamins. So let's say you eat 2,000 calories of processed foods, whether that's chips and breads and all grain products, anything frozen, meats that aren't quality, anything under that category. If you eat 2,000 calories of that, you're going to find yourself still being hungry and still wanting to overeat. And that is because your cells are screaming out that they need vitamins and nutrients. You just ate 2,000 calories, but you provided little, if any, nutrients and vitamins to your body. So your body is still wanting more. And instead of reaching out to those whole foods that your body's actually craving, you're reaching out to those processed foods again, which again, with, mixed within all those sugars, which is in every processed food you can imagine, mixed with all the grains. Often when I was at that point, I had zero energy, so I wasn't moving a lot. All of those factors will cause obesity. Those will cause health problems. A lot of people ask me, well, don't you ever have cheat meals? Or isn't that hard for you to constantly resist all of these temptations and foods? And don't you ever just want to indulge? And that answer is no, for the most part. I mean, I remember a couple of years ago, my boyfriend and I decided to walk down to the gas station down the road, and we just decided to treat ourselves to a candy bar. And I think I got a Snickers, and he had something else along those lines. And not only did it make me feel nasty, but it also did not taste good. When you're eating real whole foods and then you go and you're eating corn syrup and a bunch of refined sugars, that shit tastes nasty. That is not good stuff. And that all just comes in time with, changing your palate and, switching your body from something that you've been used to something that you have not necessarily been used to. And I don't know, I don't ever feel restricted. And that's another thing that I really can't stress enough. I don't feel the need to cheat on my diet. I don't feel the need, when I see cakes or other things, candy bars or sodas, I don't have this constant urge where I have to tell myself, self, you can't have that, that's bad, don't eat that. Or if I'm around it, I am not tempted to take a bite of it like I once was. I really believe that when your cells are being nourished and your body is getting all of the vitamins and the nutrients and the calories that it needs, you aren't looking at those other foods, mostly because you know that they don't make you feel good now. So now when I see bread or when I see sweets, I don't think to myself, wow, that looks really good. I look at it and I think to myself, oh, remember that time that you ate that and you felt really miserable? I remember when I was off bread for quite a while, I decided, after I went paleo, I decided to have a bagel, and that bagel killed me. Like, it caused the worst stomachache probably of my life. It was just this huge weighted bread belly. I was bloated. I had really bad digestion issues for several days after eating that. And even though bagels were something that I once loved, so now when I look at bagels, again, I'm not tempted by them because I'm automatically reminded of that experience that I had with them. I guess this is similar to, you know, like dealing with maybe like an abusive person or having a bad experience with something. Like if I, you know, try out a new activity for the first time, let's say I try to go snowboarding and I just completely wipe out. I completely like smash my face on the ground. I have like some really awful, terrible, horrible time that like really made my body feel bad. That is not necessarily something I'm going to run back to. That isn't to say that like with certain things in life, like you shouldn't just kind of keep trying, especially if you're interested in it. But when it comes to food, your body disagreeing with that food and feeling really miserable and bad is a huge sign that that is not working for you. If you are at an internal war with yourself over food, whether that's through calorie restriction or overall how you feel, or things that you think you should or shouldn't be eating, I'm here to hopefully inspire and motivate you to sit down and have an honest conversation with yourself and really reflect. I think that how you feed yourself is a direct reflection of how much you love and care about yourself. There are so many things that we take such good care of in life, such as our children or pets or material items or in our relationships, whether that's through romantic partners or family members or friends. We put a lot of care and energy and time to making sure that those things are okay and those things are positive and healthy, but we don't necessarily do that with ourselves, and that is a huge part of self-love. It is really hard to love yourself. It's really hard to feel excited about yourself. It's hard to feel confident when you don't feel good. Whether or not you want to be a meat eater or not is totally up to you. I support your freedom of choice. I support any road that you might take. I've been a vegan, I've been a raw vegan, I've been a vegetarian, I'm now primal, I've been on a processed food diet, I've been all over the place, so I know the importance of experimenting with those things, and I think that what works for me doesn't work best for you. That's always okay because we're individuals, so that is beautiful. Below, I'm going to link my blog where if you go to the podcast and book section, there's a section on nutrition. And I'm going to be putting all kinds of links there for all of the resources that have helped me throughout the years. It's all geared just towards general feeling good. So if you're not super into meats or dairies, that's totally fine. These resources aren't going to be super pushy on those. A lot of the resources that I do recommend those as an optimal diet. But again, I totally support the freedom in finding out what is best for you. So if you are struggling at all, know that it is okay. Know that there is an answer. You can feel better. You have the power to do it. It's not going to cost you thousands of dollars and going to see a professional. It just takes a little bit of motivation and a little bit of love on your end for yourself. So I hope that that was helpful to you. Have a great day. See you next time. And don't forget to be kind and to love your body. Cheers.